I can recommend the Vision Pro now. If you get it off eBay, get it for $2,000 or anywhere between 1,500 $2,000. If you can get one, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So this is the first time that I've ever actually transferred everything over from an old Mac to a new Mac. I've never used like the migration assistant.
I don't think I ever have either, actually.
I don't know. I guess with my Mac, I'm at this point now where like I know where everything is, and I'm not in the mood today. I'm not in the mood today to like go and like restart everything, if that makes any sense.
No, I get it. That's actually what I'm in the process of doing right now for this video. Like, so that I was waiting for the Mini to get here because I only have one Mac. So this little guy showed up today, and so now I'm going to use this as the actual computer that I'm setting up for this video. So that's going to be a huge benefit. So I'll be setting up everything from scratch, but it's like 60 different. So basically double the amount of getting started tips of the previous video. Now we have 60 instead of 30. So
Ooh, I'm excited for that.
I am too, actually. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't really realize that needed to be changed. And man, like this is going to be hot.
No, I mean, I haven't had a desktop Mac in years, man. And I'm going full tilt. Like Apple was going to give me, I think like $500 for my M2 Air, but my dad wants it. So I gave him a little family discount. He's taking it.
Okay.
I was like, this is what Apple's giving me, but I'll give you a little discount, bro.
You know what I want to do? I want one of those. I need to try to somehow acquire like an M1 or some sort of old Mac because I want to take the display off and just use it as just a keyboard. You know what I mean?
I've seen that little Hackintosh almost. Not Hackintosh because that's something different, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Where they rip off the keyboard, the bottom half.
Yeah, and take the display off basically. And I mean, like, that's the perfect Vision Pro companion, honestly. Like it basically is.
I mean, I've seen some cool setups already where people are they bring the small Magic Keyboard with them and a mouse, the Mac Mini, and then the Vision Pro. Is it an expensive, insane setup? Heck yeah. But you can literally just bring that all in a bag, and it all fits in the Vision Pro Apple bag.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of cool.
To me, though, I mean, that is cool. And I am probably going to do that, like set up a headless system. Yeah. But to me, the cleanest thing is that Mac, the MacBook with no display. Like that's because everything's in that little keyboard, basically.
Yeah.
Like your entire computer's there, and your keyboard's there, right? So it's like, and your trackpad,
Touch ID, it's all there. Yeah. So that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm literally in the middle of setting it up, and the Mac Mini is officially set up now. I'm looking at it. I got this little espresso display that I got it connected to. One little thing that I do want to mention is, and you're probably not going to deal with this because you have first-party peripherals, but getting a Mac set up with a non-Apple keyboard and a non-Apple mouse was kind of a nightmare for me. Like,
why?
Because I turned it on, and the first thing it wants is for you to turn on a Magic Mouse or a Magic Trackpad.
It actually says that?
That's the graphic that shows up on the screen.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And then, but there's no way for me to Bluetooth a mouse in prior to that. That's a non-Apple mouse. So I use a Logitech Anywhere S2 that's like 6 or 7 years old, and that's a micro USB. So I had to find a USB-C to micro USB-C cable. Or no, a USB-C to micro USB, and then plug that in physically. And then I had to plug in physically my keyboard for it to be recognized and for me to be able to do something on the display. And
so
move the mouse
Bluetooth
around.
Doesn't work? I thought there was a...
I mean, if there is, my whole thing is it was hard to find. I mean, I couldn't even find the Bluetooth option. It literally just wanted me to turn on the Apple related or the Apple peripherals, and I didn't have them. So I had to physically hardwire them
so
to the
I see what
to
you're
the Mac.
saying because I was thinking, well, just click the Bluetooth. Well, you can't actually click. Duh. Like there's nothing on the
toolbar or on the top
well,
or whatever it is.
even if there was, you couldn't click it because your mouse isn't connected. So it's
also
like,
true.
that's the problem, really. That's the real issue, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. I feel like I don't know.
There should be an easier way to do this. That's my whole thing. I'm sure I was able to finally do it. As long as you can plug everything in physically, you're fine. You can use whatever mouse you have laying around. But yeah, that's what I had to deal with.
But don't you have a Magic Mouse laying around?
Magic Mouse, no. I have a Magic Trackpad, but it was like deep in my closet that I would have to go like diving for it. And I remember I tried to connect it like a year or two ago, and it just like wouldn't connect. So maybe like the battery was down. I don't know. So I was like, I have a mouse here, and I have my Satechi keyboard here. Like, make this easy for me to connect. But again, classic Apple, Got to make it a little bit tougher, but we got in.
Yeah. Good. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm looking forward to see how you like it. I think you're going to like it.
It's small, man. It's
the mini
small.
Yeah. I mean, the box is smaller than the actual mini.
Yeah.
Or the Mac Mini was. The OG Mac Mini.
I know. I'm excited to see what people do. I mean, you were mentioning you're going to do a headless display, but that's with your Mac. But then also, you can take this thing on the road. Like this is portable to an extent. Obviously, you need to power it on. It doesn't have a battery, but like you can throw this in a bag easy.
Yeah, you can. My biggest disappointment with this, if you can even say that, is the fact that it's not powered by USB-C. Like I wish one of those USB-C ports on the back, I wish that could supply power.
Yeah.
Because that would, like having power delivery, that would solve so many issues with regard to taking it on the road and keeping it powered up. Like the fact that it uses a traditional power cable is a little bit disappointing because I was thinking, wouldn't it be really cool if you could have this Mac Mini connected to a studio display with the USB cable and that's it. Like it powers it and that would be awesome.
No, I agree. Because it's true. I mean, now you're definitely going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Restricted by like the length of that cable. Like you would have to get like an extension cable if you really wanted to do something. And from a power consumption standpoint, like I think like a 30-watt brick would be able to power this thing because it's not drawing that much power from what I was reading.
It draws up to 155 watts, I think, peak.
Yeah, peak.
Whereas the previous Mac, the previous M2 Pro, I believe, drawed a lot more, like it was like 200, I believe, something around there.
It did draw more, yeah.
And so it was either like the M2 was 150, the M2 Pro was like 200 something, and now so this one is like 155 across the board, even the M4 Pro, which is interesting. It really shows like how far Apple has come as far as efficiency is concerned. But I'm just interested to see how this thing performs, like sustained peak.
Yeah.
So.
And I think you're going to be able to really push it because, again, the way that I use my current M2 Air, very minimal. I mean, we're using it right now for this. Like, this is probably as intense as it gets from my personal use case. Outside of that, it's Slack, it's email, it's like uploading a video. Like, I'm not editing anything on these computers. So for me, the power that I need out of this thing I'm not going to come anywhere near that upper echelon in how I'm using it. So maybe I will stress test it to see what it's like, but for the most part, that's why I went with a complete baseline model. 16 gigs of RAM, 256 storage. I have my external SSDs, plug it into the back with the Thunderbolt 4 ports, which will be nice and quick. And that was another thing. I hardwired going back to the setup, and I know I'm all over the place, but I'm just excited. Using the migration assistant for the first time, I plugged in a Thunderbolt 4 cable from my M2 Air to the back of the Mac Mini, and it flew. I think I transferred 150 gigs, and it took less than 10 minutes, which was kind of impressive.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
I liked it. It's nice.
Cool. Yeah, that's, like I said, I'm excited to see how you like it. Was there anything from the reviews that dropped, was it yesterday, that stood out to you, or was it a surprise, or?
I mean, I only watched one. I tend to really just stick to the MKBHD one.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go too crazy with it. And what did he say? I mean, nothing really stuck out to me. I mean, we know exactly what it is. It's amazing what they were able to put together in such a small form factor. And it's going to be more so what the competition is going to be able to do in this because you're either, from what I've seen, it's either you're at this price point, but it's going to be chunkier, it's going to be a bigger piece of tech, and it's going to be not as powerful, or you're going to make something that's that small, but you're going to need to spend a pretty penny for it. Apple's been able to find this beautiful, not even middle ground, just like low ground of price with a super high ceiling for performance that just hasn't really been seen. So that's what kind of, I think MKBHD was saying something along those lines, where the price to performance ratio and then just the sheer size of this thing is impressive. But nothing has really stood out to me. I will say the power button being on the bottom, I thought there'd be a little bit more space for my finger to fit. Nope. Yeah. You do have to physically more than likely lift it or tilt it to the side to turn it off and on. But again, it's going to be far and in between. Maybe like once every couple of weeks, once a month, you might have to restart it. But that's pretty much it.
I mean, just unplug the opposite end. Like if it's really about all that. It's
yeah, like, that's what I'm going to do. Like right now I have this set up on my like mobile desk where I like to record, and then I'm just going to unplug it and move it over to my main desk and tuck it where my Cal Digit is, and we'll have those things side by side, and then it'll be motoring.
Yeah, I think I'm most, as far as like using this thing, one of the things that I'm extremely curious is just to see how it stacks up against the M1 Max, like because or the highest end, not the highest, because I mean obviously there's Ultra.
I guess there's M1 Ultra.
Yeah,
but pretty up there.
But like this Max has been great, right? I'm just really interested to see for $599 how this thing competes with that. And from what I'm able to gather, it's going to compete pretty well with it. So it's just crazy how far Apple has come in just such a small amount of time, where you have a performance that not only matches but beats that middle to high end M1 Max.
What was the retail on that M1 Max back then?
I think it was like $21.99, something like that. I thought.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was more. Probably like four. It's definitely like almost 4 times the amount of the Mac Mini, close to it, right? But again, like that had 32 gigabytes of RAM, so there's a pretty big difference there. And I don't know the memory bandwidth. I know there's a pretty big difference memory bandwidth wise between the M4 and the M4 Pro. But I'm not sure how that's going to affect workflows as far as like video and things that I would be interested in to, how big of a difference that would make. But I'm sure we'll have people testing those things out as well. But yeah.
Did you go with the base model?
Yeah, total base.
Yeah. Nice. That'll be a fun one to see, comparing like because when did the M1 Max come out? Was that one came out in 21, right? Early 21, I think? Because the regular M1 was late 2020, and that was the only one that came out then.
I believe so, yeah.
So in about a 3.5, 4 year span, Apple's been able to slash the price by, I don't even know, like a quarter of the price for the same, if not better, performance.
Yeah, I mean, it looks significantly better, actually, just on paper, of course. But I too am not somebody who really like takes in a lot of reviews and stuff like that. I like to kind of have my own objective opinion about these things and not be colored by any sort of outside noise. Not noise, but a lot of those
like
reviews
influenced, even if it is passively.
Yeah. I try to. I'll read a couple or watch. Maybe I'll watch MKBHD and I'll read like John Gruber's because I usually like his reviews. Like I usually like his reviews, and he usually notices like some nuanced things, and that's what I like to pick up from reviews, like more of the nuance, not the obvious stuff. Yeah. I'm really excited to get off this podcast. Just
honestly, I'm like, all right, let's move everything around. I'm in the middle of this, but we had to talk about it.
Yeah, of course.
But then also, what's crazy is that they released the Mac Mini, but then also MacBook Pros came out, the iMac came out, the USB-C accessories, which I mean, I'm not gonna probably touch any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But those are also going to be just as, if not more impressive. Like the sheer power that's coming out of like that M4 Max is probably insane. Like you can spec that laptop out to like $7,000 right now.
Yeah, crazy.
So
yeah,
it would be cool to see that comparison too.
One of the things that I noticed is that I think it was today, it was posted that the Mac Mini base features 228 gigabyte sticks of memory, or I guess sticks is probably the wrong term nowadays with everything integrated. But so it has the 228 gigabyte memory modules. And so that's obviously going to make it faster than the previous version, which had just a 256 single module. So basically, Apple is rating these together for faster performance, and you're going to get faster read-write speeds as a result, even on the base model, which is really nice.
Yeah, I remember they didn't do that. Was it a year or two ago with with baseline MacBook Air, maybe?
I think so, and then they fixed it.
Yeah, because somebody opened it up and then caused a ruckus.
Yeah,
so kudos to that person that got us this on the baseline.
Yeah, but that does make a difference. Like it really does, especially when you're transferring files and you have these big. It's just so much better to have 2 modules or 4 modules versus 2 modules or 2 modules versus 1 module.
Yeah,
you're just going to it's just going to multiply the speeds.
Yeah,
so that's nice.
Makes it easier to access.
Yeah. So there's also, speaking of SSDs, a replaceable SSD. I say replaceable because it is like it's a physically replaceable module, but you still need Apple's own modules in order to make it work. So
yeah,
they don't
like you can't just go on Amazon and buy an SSD stick.
It would be nice if they were just an M.2 SSD and you could just that would be so
load
nice.
That thing up.
Man, it would be nice, but again, that would eat into Apple's margins.
I bet you somebody's gonna make some sort of adapter. Somebody at some point will, I think.
It might be difficult, but I mean, I would say it's way more likely now with the Mini than it was, because this isn't new. Like the Mac Studio has the same thing, but you're not getting as many. The Mini is going to sell way more, I would think, than the Mac Studio. There's going to be in more hands, and there's going to be a higher potential for people to tinker around, and you're just more inclined to open up a $500 box versus a $2,000 box.
Yeah.
So I just think the likelihood is higher, but I would still be shocked if that actually came to fruition.
It'd be cool. I bet you somebody somewhere will figure it out. It's now just a matter of time. We'll see if somebody actually sells something, but I'm sure somebody's going to be able to figure out how to install more SSD storage on this thing internally, at least.
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be crazy.
Yeah, it's nice because like external storage is so cheap and
so much cheaper than
so fast at that. Yeah. Like even now with Thunderbolt 5, obviously these are Thunderbolt 4, but even Thunderbolt 4 is really fast. And like I edit totally on an external drive, and I don't even really notice that there's a difference. And now in Mac OS, there's that new feature that you can set the Mac App Store to download apps directly to your external drive and install those apps on your external drive, which is nice. That's going to save a lot of space. So you have big apps like Final Cut. Yeah. So go into the settings of Mac App Store, big apps like Final Cut, big apps like Logic, all those apps that are multi-gigabyte. As long as it's over 1 gigabyte, it's going to install to that external drive for you. And that's going to save some space as well. So that's always
And then it's usable off of that drive?
Yeah. Totally.
So it'll never live on the laptop or on the desktop.
It looks like
that's crazy.
So like I installed Logic today, and that's one of the tips. So make sure you watch the video, the 60 tips, because that's one of them. But that's a way you can save some significant amount of space depending on if you download a lot of apps from the Mac App Store.
Okay, no, I think that's going to be a big one then. Is that with Sequoia with 15.1 or just 15? Okay,
15.1, I believe. Yeah,
nice. No,
so yeah, fun one. Yeah, it's going to be fun, and I don't know. So I already mentioned like using the Mac Mini as a headless Vision Pro for Mac Virtual Display, but I did want to just, if that's okay, just to briefly talk about the Vision Pro.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
you're a resident Vision Pro expert right now. You're the only one with it.
Dude, this is so good. Like the Mac Virtual Display. To me, like I can recommend the Vision Pro now. If you get it off eBay, get it for $2,000 or anywhere between $1,500 $2,000. If you can get one, it's pretty good. Like you basically have a Retina display in 3 different sizes. So it's like, I think I posted something in Slack showing the difference between the ultra wide, the wide, and the standard display. And dude, I can fit 2 4K.
I did see that.
2 4K Final Cut Pro windows.
That's crazy.
Like at full 100% size and still have room left over for the rest of the UI in Final Cut using that ultra wide display. And it's like retina quality. Like if you have it zoomed in at just the right distance and everything, like you can't see pixels from this.
That's
like
so cool.
It's significantly better than previous Mac virtual displays. Like, and it's not hyperbole. Like it's significantly better. And if they would have shipped it like this, man, I think the Vision Pro would have had a way different. Like people would have had a way different reaction. Now it's kind of too late because it's just like. People already kind of made their judgments on it.
Yeah.
But those initial reviews would have been a lot different. It would have been a lot different if they would have shipped this with the first version of visionOS. Like it's that big of a, I won't say game changer, but it's that big of an improvement. It's a huge improvement.
Yeah.
And not just that, you get sound, go figure, you get sound piped from your Mac directly to the Vision Pro speaker or the AirPods.
Yeah.
And there's no discernible lag. It even supports spatial. So you like if your window's over here, you could tell that the noise is coming from this window over here.
That's so cool. So you hear the slack like beep, beep on that side.
Yeah.
It's over there.
I mean,
cool.
dude, it's like I know. It's like they have to be disappointed that they weren't able to ship this initially because, like, if you look at just some like message boards and stuff, like people are just raving over this. The few people that own the Vision Pro, like. It's really good.
I know, and I mean, I'm looking at the price points for used ones. You know, we're looking low 2000s for a used Vision Pro on eBay, like you said, and then even if you want to go out right now and buy yourself a 49-inch ultra wide, you're spending at least $1,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and
so
it's by far the best TV experience that you can buy, hands down. Not even. Nothing comes close to this, dude. Like, there's no TV you could buy today at Best Buy. I don't care if it's an 8K, 100-inch screen. It's not going to be better than this, period.
No, I mean, it can't be, especially for single person use. I agree 100%.
Yeah, exactly. So,
like, if that's valuable to you, like, now I see the value play where, okay, maybe not buying it brand new because that's $3,500, but for the right person, they could see enough value in having that ultra wide and all those different sizes. And then on top of that, like you said, just the consumption animal that thing is, in terms of the type of content you can consume, how you consume it, the immersion of it, and yeah, little by little, it'll continue to get better, right? And continue to get more stuff added to it. It's just a matter of how quickly that happens. But I do think it's an easier pill to swallow now, because of all the stuff that it has.
Yeah, like the improvements on visionOS 2. Are massive. Like that Mac virtual display is super legit and it's just really impressive. Like I'm impressed every time I use it. I do wish that like you could, and I think Apple is sort of working on this because one of the updates in 15.1 was the fact that you can now basically mirror windows to like your Apple TV, individual app windows instead of the entire like.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. I'm like, are they going to do that with Vision Pro where you can just have a single window? Because that would be even more awesome. Like you can just
awesomer,
have all your windows everywhere, like and have them ordered. I don't know, man. I've been using my Vision Pro more than probably I've ever used it. Like the past 2 weeks, like I've used it pretty much daily.
You went through like a 6-month span there where that thing was just collecting dust. I feel like. Yeah. And then it just kind of came around.
Yeah, and like movies are so good on it. It's just crazy. But again, it's like if you're
gonna make me open my wallet up again.
Sorry, man. I'm not trying to convince people to like buy this.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying if it's something that you've wanted and you can get it used for a good price, I would feel way better about recommending it now than I would even just 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
So anyway. Awesome. Yeah, let's
see if the adoption increases, because on the flip side, we saw that like news where Apple is like reeling back the demo space that they're dedicating for the Vision Pro for people to go check it out, and people are saying it's doomsday for the Vision Pro, which I don't believe. I still think the Vision Pro has its place and it's continuing to carve out its space just little by little because it's a very niche product. But again, I think it's these little use cases that really start to add a ton of value to people, where it's going to start to expand a little bit more, and more people are going to want to have it and are going to be willing to spend that type of money for that situation.
I think if they could have came in at like $2,000, like just under here and $2,000, it would be a different game. If they would have done that, and I know obviously they would probably taken a big loss.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But I think if they would have just, like, obviously this is a niche product, let's go ahead and just get it out. We'd be talking about the Vision Pro way differently than we are now, because not only that, if they would have shipped this Mac Virtual Display at a $2,000 price point, they may be expanding the Vision Pro demo session, but now it's just like you can't really make a first impression twice. So
and I think the way that they try to sell it, because they kind of tried to sell it as a standalone computer, which in reality, I mean, I guess technically it can be because it's got the chip on there and you're able to get some compute done on there. But I think it's just another supplemental device to the ecosystem. And I mean, it's expensive, but people have spent $1,600 on the Studio Display. People spend $5,000 on the XDR, and you see a lot of people do. I see a lot of more the Studio Display for sure, but I see a lot of people having that display. So if they had sold it with a different kind of taste in people's mouths in terms of setting the expectation correct, where it's the supplemental device that's going to enhance your workflow, that has some awesome, content consumption features, and you can play games with it, and it's only going to get better, and there's a big wow factor to it, as opposed to this is a computer on your face that you're going to want to wear and it's going to replace everything. I think that's going to be that would have been a much better marketing play, in my opinion.
And I think like the Apple Watch, like the initial pitch for it was a lot different than what the pitch is right now.
Yeah,
it's more of a fitness oriented device now, but we're talking about a $300 device versus 10 times that amount plus. That's just a difficult pill for people to swallow. It's very expensive, and like to your point, I think they should have went all in on the continuity aspect. Like, why isn't the iPad? Why can't you use the iPad with Vision Pro? Like, why can't you access your iPad with Vision Pro? Why do we not still have Final Cut Pro on Vision Pro? Why are all these apps restricted that could technically run on Vision Pro perfectly, yet so many developers have opted out? Like, you can't even get Final Cut Pro, the iPad version, on Vision Pro, which is ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that'll change here with this update to Final Cut. I doubt it, but it will. Supposedly, it's going to get spatial video editing support. So that's one of the features Apple announced. So I don't know, man. I just think, like you said, they should have went all in on the connectivity aspect and as something that enhances the entire ecosystem, like your iPhone. Like, why isn't mirroring available on Vision Pro? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you should be able to control your iPhone directly from your Vision Pro. You should be able to take phone calls, regular phone calls from your Vision Pro. You should be able to mirror your Mac or your iPad on Vision Pro.
No, I mean, the iPad especially is so disconnected from the Vision Pro, which is hilarious because Vision Pro runs iPad apps, and a lot of the UI and UX of Vision Pro applications are brought over from iPad OS. So I mean, maybe it's a reason to make people get one or the other, or I don't know, making it an easier choice, because Apple likes to kind of do that in terms of this has one role, one it can only do one thing, and it can't overlap with what it's doing, what another product is doing, because then it's going to cannibalize or make people think too much about it. So maybe that was their mindset. But I agree. I think it should have been sold as like your main hub for all of your Apple devices, and you can control everything from there, because you get your Tony Stark look with everything in front of you, and you're able to control all your different devices, and that would have been a way cooler play.
That is a perfect pitch, like right there. Like, that's perfect. I never really thought about it like that. Yes, it should be your main hub where you can access everything. Yeah. Like everything, like your Mac, your iPhone, your iPad, because otherwise you got to take the stuff off. Like, you can't even unlock your phone while we're in Vision Pro with Face
insane.
Insane, because we've had the ability since, like, remember the mask thing? Like, we know it's capable. And another thing, the eyesight feature, like, that was just so unnecessary, dude. Like the little fake eyes on the headset. Is that
Oh,
called
yeah.
eyesight? Yeah, it's
I think, I
eyesight.
know what you mean. It's such a not talked about feature that I forgot what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Like they're trying to make it like the pass through. Like clearly it's just covering your face. Stop trying to make it easier for like the other person across from you to feel comfortable talking to you.
they don't, because you look like an alien.
Yeah,
Every time
it
I
makes
have
it
that
look
done,
worse.
it's just like, why are your eyes so far apart? Like they're like, why do
you look so
like,
spacey? Because
why you look like a hammerhead shark? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah. So it's just disappointing, man, because it could have been a completely different conversation now. When coming up on a year with the Vision Pro, maybe it still will be. I mean, it's totally possible. It's still a young product, and I think, if anything, visionOS 2 was such a massive leap over 1 in so many ways that I'm really excited about visionOS 3 and just future updates. I think this is definitely a good product, but there's so much baggage on it that makes it kind of hard sell for the general public. But I'm enjoying it.
No, I agree, and I think it's gonna get better, and I like to stay optimistic with this kind of stuff. Where they might bring the like, I think they'll have a cheaper option at some point. I think more and more people are gonna start to see the value of it, and it's just a matter of finding its rightful place. Like, it's not. I don't think it's gonna be a situation where you're walking out and using it at a Starbucks and using it in public. And I think it's just supposed to be like let it be the VR AR headset. Don't try to make it be something else, and let it be the hub of all your Apple stuff. That would be the coolest pitch. So
I agree. I mean,
I do think Vision Pro's here to stay. It's just a matter of them moving more and giving us a reason to get more of them in people's hands.
And one last thing, the App Store situation on the Vision Pro is pathetic. Like, it is so
Dedicated
bad.
Vision Pro apps are terrible. I mean, there aren't any, basically.
I mean, there are some, and some are decent, but it's just like, even just the experience of going to the App Store on Vision Pro, like, there's not even a top download list. There's not even like, you can't even find like apps that other people are like, it's all totally curated. So there's no sort of way to see what are other people using on this thing. Like, it's just, it is hard to find apps. Like, there's no list. There's just
That's
none.
so weird.
It's either search.
Because I feel like they've perfected the regular App Store on iOS. Charts and lists and free and paid and what people are using and games and arcade and all the different stuff that's in that. I mean, again, that App Store's had 15 years to mature. But it's the same thing. The Mac App Store has that too. Why not bring it to the Vision Pro? Just give it a little more organization and make it easy for people to discover. And then also, which would probably appeal to developers, that the distribution is just way easier. Instead of having somebody physically probably pick what's going to be first on when you open up the Vision Pro application.
It's totally
Vision
human
Pro App Store.
curated. Yeah, which is nice. I like that aspect, but it should not be the only way to find apps outside of search. Like, it just shouldn't be. It's just disappointing. Like, every time I go there, I'm thinking, oh, maybe there'll be something else new, but it's just like the same old, same old. It's the same old stuff regurgitated. Every now and then there's an app. And then lastly, but not least, the gaming aspect or lack thereof. It's just so disappointing. Like, there's so much potential there, and it's just wasted. Maybe that'll change in visionOS 3. Maybe Apple will see that, hey, this should probably be a gaming platform. Like, put games first. Like, there should be more emphasis on that.
Yeah.
But it's just not. They're selling it as a computer for professionals, basically.
Yeah, they're definitely missing out, because there are people in that demographic that will pay money for that situation, for it being a gaming focused or having some sort of gaming focus, like feature set, something. Whether it is just giving us that big display, right, and putting it like playing a regular Xbox or PC game, or if it's an actual AR VR kind of dedicated game where they're putting all that compute to work.
Both, but it's like,
give me Beat Saber, man.
Yeah, and it's like the games that are out there, they're just not that good, and it just seems like a huge, like, all they need is one killer app. There's no killer apps for Vision Pro outside of Mac Virtual Display. That's arguably a killer app, but that's like just a utility.
That's like a feature.
Yeah, it's a feature, but like, there's no killer applications. I mean, can you think of any? I mean, arguably you could say the NBA, like, being able to have, but I mean, how much value is there to have 5 games? Like, it's just like, information overload.
And you can do that on any display right now. You can open up the NBA app on your iPad or your Mac, and yeah, you're restricted to the physical screen, but you can do that already. So the whole thing is like bringing something that you pretty much couldn't do into that world. Like use the power of all that compute that you and R&D that you put into it, because you leave your display there, it's going to stay there. Like use the differentiator of the Vision Pro to put that into applications is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And last but not least,
it's a sick computer. It's a matter of taking advantage of it.
And I think, to be fair to Apple, like I think they were kind of behind with development, and I think they're just kind of catching up. And I don't know how much resources they're putting into Vision Pro development and stuff like that. So I mean, comparatively, like the original iPhone was pretty terrible compared to how it is even just a few years later. So they could just be taking their time to build it out. But
yeah, maybe there's no rush. Maybe they want to do it perfect. You know, like maybe they're. I mean, of course they want to do it like perfectly, but yeah, maybe they just don't see a need to rush into it when it's such a expensive product, and maybe they are going full tilt on there, alongside Apple Intelligence. And does it have Apple Intelligence, by the way? There's no Apple Intelligence in the Vision Pro.
Not yet, at least.
I think they're just taking their time with it. I think they know, and they know what they need to do. I think they're hearing all the feedback, and like you said, it could take a turn similar to the Apple Watch, where first it was supposed to be just like a smartwatch notification extension of your iPhone, and then it turned into like this crazy health and fitness, wellness, you need this Apple Watch to survive kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it'll turn.
Lastly, like there should have been USB-C connectivity. Like we should have been able to connect an external source like a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Nintendo Switch. Like that is such a missed opportunity. Yeah. Like I guarantee if this thing had the ability
to video
video in from a PlayStation, this thing would have sold. Dude, it would have sold so many units. Like that right there in and of itself would have just, probably wouldn't even be able to keep them in stock, given how just like fanatical gamers are. Like money is no object.
Like I'm a casual gamer. I play like 1 or 2 games a year, usually like a sports game. And there are times where like my wife wants to use the TV, right? And I can't play my video game. So like what I do is a makeshift version of that is I'm relegated to my iPad, and I use like a capture card, and I plug it in and move it around. It's a pretty mobile setup, and I just cannot imagine, like I mean this in a good way, I would love to have the Vision Pro and just plug it into the little battery, that same capture card, and have my video from my Xbox go right into my Vision Pro.
See,
using one of those applications.
That's what I thought the Mac Mini would bring to. Maybe the next Apple TV will bring something like that to the table, where it has HDMI in as well. Like so you have HDMI out, obviously.
Remember the original Xbox One did that? It had like where you could plug in your cable box directly in there and do everything from the Xbox. Something similar. Like why not? Maybe
we will see that with the next Apple TV, where it has HDMI in, and then that will automatically allow you to pipe all that directly
like
to the Vision Pro.
HDMI
wirelessly, which would be even better, honestly.
Yeah. Then it has AirPlay 2. It's got all you're on the same network. That would be a cool. They could easily do that. Well, they got to be able to easily do that.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not?
You know? Yeah. Take notes, Apple. If you made it this far.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a win.
Yeah. So there we go, man. So Mac Mini, all the new Macs, iMac, MacBook Pro. I don't know. I'm ready to get this thing unboxed, man.
Yeah, no, definitely get to it. Apple, they've perfected the packaging. It's beautiful. It's just presented to you. It's just crazy. My last little bit. It's just crazy how the unboxing of a computer has gone so minimal. I remember back in the day, the amount of stuff that would come in buying a computer, especially like a PC back in the day, a tower PC. And now you literally open this thing up. It's a beautiful little metal box. You got a power cable, and that's it.
They are the best at the box experience, hands down. No one comes close to that. So yeah.
But yeah, let's finish this thing up. I'm excited to play with it. I'll finish up my initial video. So I'm gonna have like the unboxing and then initial setup, quick little impressions, and then you're definitely gonna have the 60 Mac tips, which whether or not you got the Mac Mini, you should be watching. because I think it's good for
Yeah.
anybody that's got a Mac.
Anyone.
And
Yeah.
then I know you're going to stress test this thing, so I'm excited to see those videos.
So I'm going to do a top features of this as well. So hopefully both of those will be live before the end of the weekend. And then I'll have some more videos for Mac Mini as well. But I'm just excited now I have a second Mac. Like that's a game changer for me personally in my workflow. Like it's going to be, because there's like a huge bottleneck there. I have one Mac and it's just kind of hard to like really experiment on your main Mac. So anyway,
I mean, that's part of the reason why I was telling you I got another iPhone 16 Pro. Because sometimes I want to be on the regular iOS 18.1. I want to be on the public version. I don't want to, mess up my... Because especially with the 18.1 beta, and not to go on a quick little tangent, 18.1 beta was a little unstable for my phone. So now 18.2 is much better. But it would be nice to just have one that's just regular, that gets the normal updates and see what that experience is like. And just make it easier to create content on the other one and vice versa. So I think you're going to have a good fun with 2 Macs, especially.
I will. Yeah. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the audio podcast. Of course, this is available on Apple Podcasts, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And also, if you're not a member yet, consider joining our membership program. I don't know. We still need to post the wallpapers, don't we? Did we post those?
I posted them.
Oh, you did?
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So November wallpapers should be up. We made 15 new wallpapers. So I think when we started this, we promised 2 a month. And I think now the least we've done is like 8 or 9.
Yeah, so maybe they'll make up for some of our other shortcomings. Or at least
and you get access, if you sign up today, you get access to all of them. So I think dating back to March is when we started, maybe.
Yeah, so that's a gang of wallpapers you'll have.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. All right, man. Well, I'm looking forward to your video. Looking forward to your impressions. And I will talk to you next week.
Let's do it.